are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Marriage Adventure Podcast. We're your hosts, Daniel and Bonnie. And today we're going to talk about something that I think that most of us couples don't recognize. It's there or it's missing until it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I totally said that wrong. that didn't make any sense. We're going to talk about something that couples don't recognize until it's missing.
There you go.
How about that?
Yep.
There you go. And it's peace in the home. And
Yep.
man, when it's not there, you know it.
Well, and I don't think you recognize it sometimes until you've been living without it for a really long time.
Yeah.
I mean, people assume that if there's not screaming or major fighting in their house, then everything's okay. But a home can be very quiet and not feel peaceful.
Oh, man, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And we recently did a coaching video called The 5 Warning Signs That Your Christian Marriage is Drifting Apart. And this was one of those warning signs we talked about. It was this idea that the home has lost its peace and emotional safety.
When peace leaves a home, you can feel it. And you feel it in conversations, and you feel it in it's like the whole atmosphere of the house changes when you've lost that. And sometimes you even feel tension before anybody even says anything. It's not even like something that someone walks in and says. It's just like there's just an ongoing underlying tension.
It's almost like when you're baking something and I walk in and I don't know you're baking or cooking anything, but I just walk in the door and I smell it and I know it.
Uh-huh.
It's like, what you cooking, right?
Yeah.
Peace in the home's kind of the same way. You can't see it. You can't smell it, but you know when it's not there. And so today we want to unpack that a little deeper. What does peace in the Christian home actually look like, right? And what begins to happen when it disappears? And then how do you realize or recognize that the warning signs before emotional distance becomes normal?
Yeah, and that's because God didn't design marriage to feel emotionally exhausting.
No.
He designed our relationship to be this place of refuge and connection and safety and grace.
Yeah. And so if your marriage has felt tense or disconnected or emotionally cold or just kind of off lately, then I think this conversation, this episode is going to really encourage you today.
Yep.
So let's dive in with that. Peace in the home. Typically, we think when something's not peaceful, we think, oh, well, there's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of fighting.
We think if it's not peacetime, it's wartime.
That's right. It's wartime. But we are Gen Xers, and we grew up born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. And so if you're in our generation or the boomer generation, you lived through something called the Cold War.
Yes.
And what was the Cold War? Well, during the Cold War, there wasn't actual fighting, but there was tension, right, between all these countries. And I remember growing up as a kid, hearing about the Cold War and the Russians and all that kind of stuff, right? And and that's kind of the same way, peace in the home can be. Sometimes it's when there's not peace in the home, there is fighting.
Right.
But it doesn't always mean that there's no fighting, right?
Yeah. Because it's that, when you walk in a room and it's kind of like, okay, there's just something. It's like I've got this tension, like this knot in my stomach because things aren't, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So there's emotional tension. And then there's emotional safety, right? And so what would you kind of tend to say is the difference between emotional tension in the home and lack of emotional safety?
Okay, so if you're not emotionally safe, that's where you don't feel like you can express anything. You feel like you're underneath someone's thumb. You feel like my entire life is, okay, I don't know what to say here to do the right thing. Did I do the right thing? I'm not sure I did. Something made you mad. Something is always about to make you mad. Or I can't approach you about something that's in my heart because I don't feel like you're going to take it well ever. That's the lack of emotional safety.
So maybe tension is a specific situation that creates tension, a disagreement, but it's not long lasting. It's not the overall culture of the home.
Yes.
Right. You can have a culture of peace and have intermittent, times of tension right here and there. that are short-lived, and maybe you just kind of work through it and you get back to, the normal peaceful home.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional safety is more, it explains the culture of the home.
That's
right?
a good way to explain it.
That this place is just really, and that word toxic is thrown around a lot today, but it has that more feel of this is just not a healthy, I guess, environment, from an emotional, relational standpoint.
Yeah. Well, we hear, so here at the farm, when we have people come and visit us a lot, whether it be for if it's going to be for their marriage intensive, or if it's for couples coming for a workshop, or sometimes it's just kids coming here to hang out with our kids or whatever. But
we had 40 kids here last week for a little worship night.
Yep.
Game night. It was fun.
Yep. But one thing I repeatedly hear, just out of the blue, unprovoked, is so peaceful here. It's so peaceful here. And I think that's because we're in an area where it's quiet out here. You can actually hear yourself think. There's not a lot of noise. There's not a lot of traffic. And so that's what peace feels like. There's not a lot of noise. There's not a lot of things that make you feel unsettled. I feel safe here. I'm not constantly worrying about my kid running out in the street and getting hit by a car. I'm not worried about a ball rolling out and them getting, that's a feeling of, it's just peaceful. I can let my guard down.
Yeah.
It's a place where I can let my guard down and not have to be doing anything. I know growing up, I lived on a farm, and I remember
it was even more.
It was further out.
Further out than where we live.
There was more open space even than here, because there were a lot more acres. It was just this place. And I remember hearing that it's just so peaceful here. And I think a lot of times, a lot of times people will go to the beach and say, this is just peaceful. What they're saying is, I can relax here. I feel like I can rest. Every time we go visit my mom, you fall asleep.
I do.
At the farm, it's kind of the joke. It's like every time I go to Mimi's, Daddy's going to take a nap.
I know.
But it's because
I feel like the old lazy uncle in the recliner that sleeps after a meal.
But it's because
I am.
When you're here, you're on mission for something always. There's something to do. But when you get there, you can truly just rest. You don't have the responsibility of the world on you. You don't have anything you have to do at the moment. There's nothing urgent.
Yep.
And I think in a home, there can be a culture of peace sometimes when no matter what's going on in the world, when I walk through that door, I can be at rest emotionally, meaning I don't have to carry everybody else's burdens. I can come home here and I can drop them. I can drop my guard. I can drop all the things that have happened on the day and just drop it at the kitchen table around dinner. Or I can drop it in your lap at night, and it's a safe place. And I think my mom always had a phrase that she wanted to be a soft place to land. And I've adopted that for me, for our family, is I want to feel like a soft place to land. And emotional safety is what creates that.
Yeah. And so many times we think peace is the absence of disagreement.
Not
and
always.
that's not true. I mean, listen, if you're, a marriage, a family, you're different people, right?
Yeah.
And you're different people living under the same roof. And so disagreements are going to happen. We're not going for a disagreement-free or argument-free marriage. Those are going to happen.
Yeah.
But what peace is, it's the presence of love and safety during a disagreement.
Yes.
Right? It's that ability to be able to say, okay, I disagree with you, and I feel like I can have a dissenting. Did I say that right?
Dissenting. Opinion.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I can have a differing opinion than you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to blackball me because you're not going to, be mad at me
stupid.
for months because you're not going to put me down or call me names. Right. Now, a lot of it is in how we express that differing opinion, right?
Sure.
We want to do so with kindness and gentleness and things like that. But if we can, but yeah, it's that peace is the presence of love and safety during a disagreement. We had a conversation with Colby the other day, and he loves sports and all this different kind of stuff, and we do too. But he's gotten into golf and and he was into basketball for a while. And I'm not. I never grew up with basketball. I grew up with football, baseball. And so. and I ran. I always liked to run. And so, well, he has no desire to run. And he loves football and baseball, but he's gotten into golf. And I have managed to live my whole life and never get into golf. And I feel like if I can make it through this life and not, I've achieved something. Because most people in ministry do play golf. And so he has an interest in golf. And I love that for him. Golf's a wonderful thing. It's something he can do the rest of his life, especially if he can maintain balance in marriage and, with it. I think that, and so, but I don't know anything about it, and I've never played it. And so but I want to fan that flame for him. So he kind of said, I just feel like, we all have different, no one has the same interests that I do in this family. And we said, well, first of all, that's not right. We do. There are several interests that we have together. Matter of fact, we all played in the worship band that day together. But I told him, I said, buddy, look, we don't have to have the exact same interests.
Yeah.
That's what being a family is. You're different.
And it's okay.
But you're uniquely the same.
Yeah.
You're uniquely different. And that's okay. And but we want to get behind and kind of fan the flame of your interest. We can't fan the flame of every interest, but we want to, support you in that. And that, I hope brought safety, to him and peace in that, and knowing, okay, well, but do you think that couples normalize tension over time?
Well, if they're willing to, I think obviously they do, because it becomes that thing. It becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
Because they haven't dealt with it. And then if they normalize it, people normalize lots of things over time.
Yeah.
It just, whatever you're willing to live with for an extended period of time becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go through, we talked in our last podcast episode about stress, and a lot of times stressful seasons will lead to this feeling of tension that we're talking about. It'll lead for long periods of time. If there's no end in sight, it becomes the new normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, everything, we always talk about things in life drift. Things creep, though, too, right? You start with one thing in mind, and it generally just gradually creeps. And I remember for years, we went several years without, eating sweets and just wasn't a part of our daily regimen and all that kind of stuff. And then you have kids, and I remember the first sweets Josie had, or dessert Josie had, was her first birthday cake on her first birthday. And because we just didn't, we had gone several years without eating, and we got them out of our life. Well, now I look, and 17 years into having kids, oh my goodness, over the years, it just creeped back in.
Yeah.
And so we normalize a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
We let a lot of things creep in, and then they just kind of take over, and you don't really think about it.
Well, and over the years, allowing sweets to creep in will eventually show up in your waistline.
Yeah.
And so over the years of a lack of peace in your home,
It shows
in
up.
your marriage, is going to show up.
Yep. It shows up. Yeah, 98% of couples I have here for intensives, nothing happened within the past month that caused their issue.
Right.
Right. Something might have happened, but their issue was not caused in the past month.
That's right.
Their issue has been for years,
simmering,
sitting in an unhealthy marriage. And then maybe something big happens, like infidelity, to really put a grenade in the situation. But what are some of the subtle signs that, for you, Bonnie, that peace is not evident in the home?
For me, it's when I think my telltale, and I realized it a while back, not like in the last week or anything, but I've remembered feeling that feeling in my stomach, like there's a knot in my stomach, and I just am walking on eggshells. For me, that's the feeling that I get. Is like, okay, I'm not sure I can say anything right in this moment. And I'll say this is probably not usually with you. It's usually with one of our kids. In the most recent history.
With two teenagers.
Yes, with two teenage. And if you live with teenagers, you probably know there's a lot of hormonal things going on there that you just have to learn to work around. But it is that eggshell feeling of, okay, and maybe it's not the culture in the home, but maybe it's a season of hormonal shifting, and that can happen in marriage too. Like when the female walks through the hormonal shifting later in life, and
men go through menopause.
yeah,
That's a real thing.
so there are things that can cause that, but it's that for me, it's that pit in my stomach of that tension of I'm not sure I can say the right thing or do the right thing.
Yeah, but you know what a peaceful Christian home feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I said, right? When you walk in and you smell fresh baked cookies, you know it. You know she's baking cookies. It feels like warmth and safety and stability and grace and just.
There's a lot of laughing.
There's a lot of laughing. Yeah, there's a lot of fun that you can breathe deep.
Yep.
And you feel valued and heard.
Like I can speak freely and not be judged or put down for it. I can make a mistake and nobody's gonna crucify me for it.
Yeah, a Christian home should feel like a refuge, not emotional survival. Mode all the time.
Yeah.
And so, and I think this is a really good question for you listeners is what atmosphere do you want your kids to remember your home? And so I've done this a lot in parenting is just kind of projecting myself into the future, when my kids are 30, 40 years old, what voice in their head do they hear of me growing up, right? When they're 30 and 40 years old, so 15 years in the future, 25 years in the future, what are they remembering about the home they grew up in? Because that's not going to you're not going to conjure up so many memories as you are feelings.
Yeah, that's true.
And peace is a feeling.
It is.
It conjures this feeling of, it's that home. It's why I talked to a friend this morning whose daughter just got married and moved off, and he said she's homesick, right? And why she's homesick? She's not homesick just for stuff.
Yeah.
She's homesick because she had a really healthy, sweet relationship with her parents. And now she's moved away from home for the first time, 2 hours, down the road. And that's what peace is.
Yeah.
And you feel it. And so what atmosphere do you want your kids to remember? And that's a really good exercise. And what makes a home feel emotionally restful, right? So how do you get that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, you have to fight for that, and it has to be intentional.
You're right. Are you looking for a transformational investment in your marriage relationship? Well, whether you're simply looking to press the reset button, or you're heading into a new season of marriage, or maybe you need to process and debrief a particularly tough season, well, a marriage intensive could be the answer. These are private 3-day, all-inclusive intensives here at our farm retreat in the foothills of the North Georgia mountains. They include lodging, all meals, and 21 hours of coaching to help you and your spouse reconnect and strengthen your relationship. Well, if you're interested and you'd like more information, visit themarriageadventure.com/intensives. All right, so we've talked about some of the warning signs that peace is leaving the home, right? Bonnie, you alluded to walking on eggshells, right? There's criticism, sarcasm, short tempers,
Kind of defensiveness all the time.
Yeah,
and,
shut down. A lot of guys shut down, right? And so coldness, avoidance, that kind of stuff, different, lets you know that peace has left the home. We know what emotional withdrawal looks like, right? We really don't have to paint a picture for that. But what are some of those things that that destroy peace? What are some of those things that make it not a safe, peaceful home?
Well, I think there are a lot of things. We could go on and on. This could take a lot longer than we have, but I think one of the things, and probably one of the biggest things, is constant criticism. I think, and my grandmama would call it nitpicking.
That's a visual.
Yeah, like if you're knitting and you got something in or you've got a knit sweater and you start picking at it, and you've ever had that, like a cardigan that's got the loose weave and then something you feel like there's one strand that's out there. If you start pulling on it and picking at it, if you can't really put it back in, but you keep picking at it because it's out, and then
hole just gets
the
bigger
whole
and
thing,
bigger.
it gets bigger and bigger, and then eventually just unravels, and because you're picking it, you won't leave it alone. And I
Yeah.
think there are things in our life and in our spouse that bother us, and so we don't ever just directly come out and say, hey, this thing really bothers me, and let's resolve this. So we just nag is a good word that women use. I mean, women nag, and we criticize, and we pick it and just keep on. And, I can't believe you never get this, or you never do this. And why, over time, or even the way you speak to other people about your spouse, it comes across that way too. But it builds something in your own heart when you're constantly, you can't see the good anymore.
Yeah.
So I
Wow,
think that's a big thing.
That's huge. You can't see the good anymore. And that, the good's there.
Yeah.
The good's there.
Yeah.
But you can't see it. And we've talked before about, we teach a lot about negative versus positive sentiment override. And that's a concept from John Gottman, Dr. John Gottman. We have a negative sentiment override. We can either have that or a positive one. And what does that mean? Well, it's either I have a negative sentiment towards my spouse that overrides everything. Or I can have a positive sentiment towards you that overrides everything. And that doesn't mean that I don't get upset at you or you don't do something that annoys me, but I'm not going to live in it.
We bounce back quicker.
I bounce back. I default back to positive, right? But when you have a negative sentiment override, you just don't see the good anymore.
Yeah.
It's there, but you don't see it. And
Yeah.
everything, you only see the negative. You only see the bad. And
that'll steal the peace.
Oh, man, in a heartbeat. A critical spirit.
Yeah.
Just, no one wants to live under a critical spirit. And so that's a question for you today if you're listening. It's, do you have a critical spirit in your home? Is that one of the reasons your home isn't peaceful? Because you're always putting down, So we either breathe life into people or we suck life out of them. And are you the life breather? Does your family want to be around you more because they feel encouraged and appreciated when they're around you, or do they withdraw because they know the bars you set is too high and they can never jump over it?
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Emotional criticism.
I think also short tempers is another kind of warning sign that every little thing is going to be, you go from 0 to 10 really fast. You can't feel peaceful in a home like that, or every little thing's going to set someone off.
Yep.
So.
And that's a fruit of the Spirit, self-control and kindness and gentleness, right?
Yeah.
And so we've got to make sure we're walking with Jesus so that he can produce that in us. And we talked about this one in I think the last episode was just busyness and exhaustion. And that can steal, prolonged busyness and exhaustion can steal peace. And one, because of stress, but I think it can also steal peace because over time, if we have prolonged stress and busyness and exhaustion, we'll neglect each other emotionally.
Yeah.
And we just stop connecting. And that robs a home of peace, right? Is that intentional connection.
Yeah.
So I think all of that.
What are some other warning signs?
There's obviously spiritual drift, right? I mean, when you look at the fruit of the Spirit and you look at the qualities of the Holy Spirit in Christ, it's love. Love is the biggest proponent of a peaceful home, a loving home. Now, does that mean we accept and love everything that our spouse or kids do? No, right? But love, and then joy, joyful home.
I think playful.
Yeah.
That's not for the Spirit, but it comes out of that joyfulness is being able to be playful and have fun.
Laughing a lot,
Yeah.
And I think a real key.
If you don't have that, that's a warning sign.
Yeah. We experience a lot of laughter around the dinner table because it's the one time, and I credit you with this. You 15 years ago when the kids were babies, little, you took that on as this is gonna be a staple in our home. And there is, a statistic of healthy families eat dinner together at least like 3 times a week. It's
Yeah.
some like 75% of healthy. I don't know, some statistic I should probably memorize, but but yeah. And so because when we get around the dinner table, you cook,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't watch TV. We turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Um,
Put the phones away.
unless it's a Georgia game.
Yeah.
We put the phones away, and there's no computers there, and we just eat and we talk.
Even if it's only 30 minutes.
Yep. And we laugh a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
around the dinner table.
Yeah.
And so I think I think play is a big, and I talk a lot about play, especially with couples and intensives, about interjecting fun back in their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really important. But yeah, you can't constantly or consistently give your spouse and your kids peace and gentleness and grace while remaining disconnected from the vine, from the source of those things, which is Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to abide in him, and he produces that through us. So let's talk about kind of the inverse of all of those things is how do you begin rebuilding peace in your home? Well, I think one thing we didn't talk about, but I'll insert here, is if there's unforgiveness or you've got, ill feelings towards your spouse, you've got to forgive and begin to work and move through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But aside from, on that, what's more, how do we build some more things we can rebuild peace?
I think one thing is slowing down emotionally. We get so busy so fast, and everything is moving at such a speed. We just keep ignoring it, and we can't. If you're not gonna call it out, you really can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So slowing down enough to say, oh, I feel like we're not peaceful anymore. I feel like I just walk in here and it's not safe. It's not. When I come home, I can't just rest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's slow it down and then have that honest conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
Say, something's off here. I used to feel like you were my safe place, and right now I feel disconnected and like I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the way, I don't feel like we're peaceful in our marriage anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to find a way to get back to that. I think slowing down and having the conversation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of responsibility, and this goes along with just being busy, whether it's kids' sports or school, grades, and everybody, the responsibilities. You got to do this. There's you got to get dinner on the table. You got to, you got to keep tasking. Our homes, while we do want to do well at all those things, our homes were never designed to be institutions. They were designed to be place of relationship and safe haven and love. And so
now a lot of instruction does go on.
Yes, it does. But we have to, and I love this, Kurt Cameron, Chelsea Noble, his wife, Kurt Cameron's wife, Chelsea Noble, said this. He said, above all else, you have to keep their hearts. And that's of your spouse and your kids, right? If we lose the hearts, you've lost the home. And what does that do? It's what we've just talked about, right? Being able to create a safe haven to where you can laugh a lot, you can appreciate differences. That someone's mess up isn't in eternal judgment for something, right? Turning towards each other instead of away.
And praying together and just rebuilding the friendship.
Yeah.
Those are some things that can begin to bring peace back in the home and in your relationship.
Yeah. So we have, if that's something that you want to do, is interject fun back in and rebuild that friendship, go to themarriageadventure.com and scroll down and sign up for the Marriage Adventure Challenge. It's 52 weeks challenge of 52 dates and connection points and adventures, we call them. Sign up for that, and man, you'll download a PDF of 100 or more fun ideas to do with your spouse. Cheap, expensive, outdoor, indoor, rainy day things, sunny day things, and sign up for that. And man, make that a challenge, and when you do it, post it. and hashtag us in it because we love to see it.
Yep. So one thing we hope couples hear today is this, is if peace is missing in your home lately, it doesn't mean your marriage is hopeless. It may simply mean that there are areas of disconnection that need attention.
That's right. So many couples slowly drift into unhealthy patterns without even realizing it. Things creep in, remember? And and the encouraging part is that drift can be corrected. Peace can be rebuilt, and emotional safety, it can return.
And sometimes the first step is just becoming honest enough to acknowledge that something feels off instead of just keep doing the same thing you're doing and thinking that everything's just fine.
That's right. So maybe this week would be a good opportunity to ask each other, hey, what does the emotional climate of our home feel like right now? Do we feel emotionally safe with each other? And is our marriage peaceful, or is it just quiet, you know?
Yep.
So that's good. So if this episode's encouraged you, take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, leave a review, share this episode with a couple. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff today. So, and I will put a link in the show notes for the Marriage Adventure Challenge. So, thanks for spending part of your day with us, and we'll see you next time.
We are all looking